At Intex here, and I'm just going to walk you through a trade in this video that then links into another trade as well. They're similar just because of the kind of price action that led into them, and also the areas that we were looking at, areas of liquidity that set up the trade as well. So the first one we're going to look at here is cable. We're recording this on the 25th of July, and I've moved price back just a little bit to the day before the entry here. So price is up until the 22nd of July. We had a range here that was put in around about the 200 DMA, around about 1.265, and the lower end of the range here. So we drew that in when price came down and bounced around here. The range was confirmed by this little retest here, which is exactly the same spot as this area here. So we had two bounces at the same area here and two bounces up here. This bounce here showed some bullishness because it's obviously tried to smash through the low and head lower and just couldn't get any lower. And so that bullishness transferred right the way up to the top into an attempt at a breakout. However, as so often is the case, the first breakout fails and price moved back down. However, it showed some more bullishness here. So first of all, we came and we bounced at pretty much the highest level that we could have bounced. So there was an option to bounce here, which is where we did. Come down and test the lower area of the range, or give a hard test right at the bottom of the range and potentially move even lower. So we gave a decent higher bounce, and that showed some bullishness, and that was the first kind of indication that we might be looking for a long trade and for a potential breakout to the upside here. Then price came up and it reversed again, just higher than the levels that we'd already identified. Reversed down, and then this was another signal here this day here. So looking a little bit closer, still on the daily time frame here, we are just observing. We've not got into any trades, but we had a good reversal here, and then what we'd really want to see is follow through to move further to the downside, but that just didn't happen, and we made a nice little bounce here. However, again, thinking about the other way, if you were going to have a very bullish move, you'd want obviously this to close near the top and then potentially to move higher straight from there. What actually happened is price got pushed down again, observe right on this range high as well here. Pushed down, tried to come back up, was pushed down. And then this candle here is an important candle because what has happened here, we had momentum was to the downside. Price then, if you imagine what this looked like at this point, a big black candle lower than this low here, and potentially going to go and test the lows here and move lower. However, price was pushed back up and finished near enough the highs here. And that was actually a decent entry there to be bullish. And we certainly got a nice move, and that was potentially something that was missed. There, it would have been nice to get into the trade here. However, we had some more confirmation. So we pushed up, we pushed above these highs here. And then this is where we were getting a little bit interested. So this whole story of price here is all then based around getting into a trade around this 2019 open. And having a little look around the market, we have, let's look at what Euro USD did. So if we think, where are we here on this 2019 open? We are 22nd of July. So on the 22nd of July here, we have already broken out on Euro USD above the 2019 open. Decent little breakout there. Let's look at AUD USD. So on the 21st, AUD USD broke out of the 2019 open and broke higher. CAD's actually been pretty strong already, but there was a 2019 open here. It broke down, came up, hard retest here, and is pushed back down again. So everything is pretty bearish on the USD. Cable's been held back because of all the Brexit headlines. A little bit too much to go into here. However, I think there's a decent reason to think that there's some potential for more upside, possibly a little bit more labored. However, if you look at look at the pretty much straight line that it's been up, bouncing from the lows. Euro has made a huge move here, which is really nice move. And so cable has been a real laggard, and I think there's some good upside to potentially come back in here. Sorry, this has jumped forward a few candles. Let's go back to where we were. So lots of reasons to think that maybe we want to get into a bullish trade here. Now we look at what price has done on the 4-hour. And so we had, first of all, some distribution and accumulation here, and came down and bounced and got out of that range again. Attempted to reverse here. That reversal completely failed. Again, reversed up at this 2019 open, which is where price reversed here. And so things are getting interesting here because we are not looking to get short on cable for the reasons I've discussed and other reasons as well. However, we're at that price area where at this point it came down and it reversed, attempted to get back out again and completely failed. So that's one of our options at this level, or we're going to get a breakout. And we've obviously seen some breakouts in the other pairs as well. So let's see what happens here. We come down, and so yep, here we've had a reversal attempt to move lower, again completely failed. And this was actually the candle that that triggered me to put in a bullish entry. And so this is one of the core concepts that works quite well. If you think about, if we put an entry here, it was right there, and think about what needs to happen here for that entry to be tagged. Either with this big reversal here, price is more likely to get pushed down to the downside, but that doesn't change anything. We're looking to get long on cable. So if we think what needs to happen for that entry to be tagged is that all this bearishness needs to come out of the market. Price needs to push above that area here, and then we'll get tagged. So momentum will be back in our favor. So the signal to put in an entry is actually price looking a little bit weak and looking like it might move away and we will never get triggered, which is fine. Maybe our idea is wrong, but we're being given a chance here to not even lose any money if our idea is wrong. If our idea is correct and we get triggered, then momentum has moved back into our favor. It wasn't A plus entry, because if we look where our entry is here, it's still got to get past this high here. But my thought was that that was enough bearishness that if a momentum reverses and goes higher, then it's certainly in our favor. And also we remember we have this 2019 open area that we're looking at, and the price on other pairs has already broken out of, which is a pretty decent sign. Let's have a look to see what happens. So yeah, not the best move here, but again, we're not even in that trade yet. However, I left the entry exactly as it was. And yet again, we've had this look very similar to that, just complete failure to go any lower and push back higher. This actually tagged me in pretty much to the pip for an entry, which I didn't love. However, hey-ho, that's where we were. And I thought that if this now can changed into a continuation pattern and came down to test this another area here, it would probably take a bit of time and my stop might just be okay anyway. I reckoned that we'd have enough chance to maybe reduce position and lower the stop, because ideally you obviously want the stop to be underneath this area here. Anyway, we have been triggered, and this looks nice here. Another bit of bearishness here, potentially to move down to complete that continuation, but it's just fired away, and this is where we are right now. So we're moving slightly into profit, and there's a chance now, it's the weekend, so we might come back and retest this area. Might well, I think if price moves below here, then I would want to get out of the trade, because again, thinking about that momentum that's been shown here, we've eventually moved out of these reversals here. If price comes way back down and goes under here, then I kind of want to be out of the trade and maybe thinking about getting back in if this support line here comes back into action. One or two other little things about this. First of all, thinking about targets. So we knew that we had a pretty decent area for an entry. However, target, so looking up here, this blue line here is the yearly pivot. There's also a liquidity zone that we've moved in from old liquidity around these levels here. And also look at this 200 weekly moving average, which has really defined this trend all the way down from 2015. Here came up, and that was a really nice short around here. Again, here, really thought about it at this level. This was a lot of Brexit optimism here, and obviously it's completely fallen away. Yet again, it's coming up to meet that. So really we want to be in profit, taking profit by the time that price gets to that area. I've drawn in the 200 WMA, that's us there. So yeah, this trade gets us into an area where we're 2 to 1 before we hit this area, which is certainly going to give us some chop, more likely than not. And finally, yes, I've got a lot of lines on this chart. It's a little bit too messy for me. Still no indicators or anything like that. However, lots of lines that are important for me to work out where I want price to start telling me a story and to see if it's going to move in one direction or another and confirm my fundamental or sentiment-based viewpoint. However, when I come to actually take the trade, then I want to clean stuff up. And all we've got here is, out of all of that analysis, this is the key area here and that 2019 open here. And so I've just drawn in this area, which is the place that I want to start thinking about maybe making a decision. And this is the trade again. Let's just take one more look at price action. I got tagged in there. And now we're moving higher. And we're almost back, but we're not out of the woods here. I reckon one more push would be nice to get out above this area. That would get us to 1-to-1 risk reward. So even if price is just moving up here to take out this liquidity, then, and keep in mind we're around about the 1.28 as well, then we should be able to get to break even, which is really one of the main things you want when you're in a trade. And yep, it's the weekend now. On Sunday open, I'm just going to move the stop up 20 pips, which takes about a third of my risk out of the trade. I always want to aggressively move my stops to break even whenever I can. I'm confident enough that I know price action and I'll be able to get back into a trade if I'm stopped out. If it then starts to look bullish again, for instance, with this trade. However, I would rather cut back on my risk if this whole breakout fails and we move back down to the downside. So I always want to be aggressively putting my stop to break even when it's sensible to do so. So looking at what we're doing here, we're just moving the stop to underneath this swing low here. Again, thinking about momentum, if price now comes all the way down here, barring a little spike lower, which you never know might happen, but that's just trading. If we get all the way underneath here, then that's taken out this reversal here. It's got back under these highs here, and things start to look far less rosy. So I would rather be out of the trade and reassess things. So that is the cable long. In the next clip, we're going to look at silver long, which is well into profit, but it's kind of similar kind of price action story that we were looking at. So I'll see you there.